I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, succubus with goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. Dump it. Charging into a goblin's nest, some goblin vomit and slop and blood on it, especially up to his ankles. Trump charging into a goblin's nest, some goblin vomit and slop. Goblin vomit and slop. I'm not expecting him to not get dirty slop. Kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, succubus with goblins, in bed with a goblin. Kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins. I just want to catch him in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin. I just want to catch him in bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Tonight is Friday, and I have no plan. No plan. I thought, well, actually, I had a sort of surprise guest planned for tonight who, at the very last minute, couldn't do it. But here we are, and you roll with these sort of punches. So, I thought we could make tonight, I could catch up with the live chat. And also, we can do something that we keep saying we're going to do, but then we don't get to it, which is actually open the phone line. Yes, we have a phone line here, which you could call into the show and be a guest. Come and tell your strange, mysterious story. Or any story, really. We're not that picky. So we're going to open the phone lines up. Genocide says Cambion looks better in the dark. I agree. And also, there's an issue right now with this green screen. And I've been back and forth with the stream services provider, who assures me that the problem with the stream looking terrible when we use the green screen, it'll look good for half the show, the other half of the show it looks terrible, assures me it's my problem, not theirs. So until this situation is resolved, I will be resorting to the darkened original set, which I do agree, at least for me, Genocide, I think it looks better. And it's real. The green screen looks like what it is. It looks like an artificial digital construct, right? And I'm not sure which aesthetic I prefer, but I think it's when it looks more like a real set, right? I don't know. Everybody, you could tell me in the live chat, do you like the bright green screen set or this one better? Maybe we can, I'll post a poll. I know this. I'm much more comfortable with this set for one reason. It's not super bright in here. When we're using those virtual backgrounds and virtual sets, in order for this green screen to work, it has to be lit up in here like super bright. And that makes me, I suppose, a little more alert, but uncomfortable. And I thought I would get over it, but so far... And then I was thinking about, what about those talking head guys, like, on television, where, like, they're always on a green screen, right? And so they're got these lights in their face for all this time of day. It's not very comfortable. I think I'm contemplating whether using the technical excuse with the green screen to just say the hell with the green screen, right? I think I much prefer this. Yeah, All Around Arbiter says, I like this set much better, Stephen. It looks much better. Well, there you go. And we're here to please. So, Out of Mind says, I like them both. You should do it how you want it. Yeah, I don't know, though. I like the capabilities sometimes of the green screen. So, we're probably going to end up using both, right? But I have to get those technical issues sorted out before we use that green screen again because, if there's like a goof-off show, I don't really care if it's just like a goof-off show or like an off-the-cuff show like this and the stream quality doesn't look good because it's just me talking, right? But when you have like production involved and you took the time to make bumper videos and graphics for the story, and then you use this green screen and then half of the stream looks horrible for 2 hours, it pisses me off. It definitely pisses me off. I don't know. I'm looking into using OBS as a virtual camera and some other ways we can get around these issues. So any comments or questions for me, please put them in all capital letters in the live chat. That really does help. And you know what? I can put the live chat... yeah, I figured out how to do this recently. So I can put the live chat on our screen. That will be easier for me than... That's one way to make sure that I monitor it. Okay. Just bear with me one moment, friends, while I share my screen. Always kind of concerned that I'm going to share something on my computer that I don't want to share publicly. But then I realized, like, I'm not a secret agent, right? Like, oh no, I shared song lyrics for a song I may never finish, or whatever else is going on in my. I got a crazy brain, so there's actually, like, all of this stuff open right now at the moment. Okay, so let me see if I can get back to. Brad Gray says, yeah, I really have not ever had a problem with your audio or visuals. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I got a message again today that somebody doesn't like the microphone, right? And I just, okay. Thank you for your thoughts. Boy, I got a bunch of stuff to do this weekend, and one of them is that I have a Windows 10 box that I want to drag up here and try the stream with. And that should simplify the microphone and audio issues. Yeah. Haven't heard Stephen laugh in a long time. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you want to hear that, right? Yeah, see, it depends on who you ask, though, Spooky. Somebody, I'm telling you, I could read you. Hold on, I'll read you the message. I'll read you the message. And this person previously messaged me. Let me see. Oh, he's a sound person. That's why. And I'm not going to mention his name, but I'm going to read it. But as a sound person, you can do so much better. Your voice is sounding cave-like, and it's too dark. Also, too many tech issues. Just my 2 cents. It takes away from the show. Oh, like I said, we get the show warts and all. So that was the other message that he sent me a while ago about the microphone, and now again today. You're killing it with creativity. I just still wish you were clearer, as I miss much of your funny stuff due to microphone issues. Yeah. Yeah, whatever I did, it sounds good now. I don't know what I did. Honestly, I tweaked the audio drivers on this, hacked together operating system that I'm running this thing from. You know what? I'm going to stop that because I can see the chat just fine in my software here. So I guess if anybody wants to join the show, just let me know and I will send you a link and you can come right on the show if you have a mic and a webcam and access to a browser. This is a browser-based software, so you just send me a message and I will send you the invitation to the show and you too can be a part of tonight's festivities. Otherwise, we are going to open the phone lines, something we have not done in some time, and anybody who would like to call in can call into the show. Yeah, see, I listen to you at work with headphones and it sounds great. Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't understand if people I try to just go, it is what it is, Love open topics. Me, not so much, Steve Ronan, because I'm not that great. I'm not that great when I don't have a script and a plan for what to say. Sometimes I am, but it's 50-50 shot, right? And I don't like those odds. So it's a bit of a high wire act, right? A tightrope walk, right? Yeah, and audio issues aside, I think there's always things that could be improved, right? Like obviously, if we have these shows with the green screen and half the stream looks horrible, then that's got to be improved, right? That I get, absolutely get that, but I guess also a lot of things with sound is subjective. Like people will sometimes tell me The background music is too low. It should be higher, right? Other people may email me and say, it's hard to hear you. That background music is too high. Everything is subjective, right? I don't think there's things where like there's something obviously wrong here. I'm doing, like if the mic is like overdriven or, you know, the music is blasting way too loud over the speaker, but, it's shades of gray. That's what I really think. It's shades of gray. Oh, and also, I just want to mention that we were supposed to have a guest tonight, and but they didn't want me to announce their appearance until the show. You know what I mean? And I can't talk about it because I'm still going to hope that that person gets back to me and we do it. But so tonight's last minute, and I really should have some backup shows, and I kind of do, but I feel like they all need more work. So I almost just canceled doing a show tonight, but then I remembered that earlier in the week I committed. Everybody knows this. People have been asking me like, can you do like a schedule so that we know when you're doing a show so we can be there live? Because a lot of people are catching the replays and going, you don't tell. I'm terrible at scheduling things. And I liked the idea of no schedule and rocking. And what do I mean, no schedule and rocking? I got no schedule, but I'm doing 5 shows this week, right? But I don't have a time and date in advance for all 5 of those. But this week, I heard the calls of everyone, and I go, okay, all right, I'll do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 p.m. And I committed to that. And I said to myself, I don't care what happens. I'm going to do those 3 times that I told everybody. To be a man of your word is important. And I hate... So I almost can't... I almost shit-canned tonight. I said, fucking got no guests. I don't really have a show ready to go. And literally it was a half hour before showtime when the guest canceled. So it is what it is. My point is, I totally just dropped the whole point of what I was talking about. Okay, so my point is that I'm proud of myself a little bit because I'm here, right? Showing up really is half the battle. I said I was going to be here. I am here. Anybody wants an invitation here, I will send it to you. And we can talk about just about anything that you would like to talk about. Back to the live chat here. We need more dancing clowns. Genocide says we need more dancing clowns. People love clowns. Oh yeah, and also, as far as tonight, if anybody has any suggestions for future shows, things you think we should be doing here, put them in all caps, and we can talk about that. Any more confirmed sightings of Stephen Greer's crotch? No, not that I'm aware of. And Mario Heat says, you always have panels when I'm at work. You got a cell phone, bro? You're not that busy. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, if anybody would like an invitation to join the stream, just send me a message. And also, I don't know if somebody was upset the last time we did sort of a panel show that I did not send them an invitation, but I want to remind them that I was in a mask that I could not see very well through, and I'm trying to run the show, so it was very difficult for me to send out invitations. I did say, if you want to come on the show, send me a message, and they, somebody didn't, but then they were like, hey, how come I didn't get an invite, I'm sorry, I was a little busy. Yeah. Always have panels when he's at work. Steve Ronan is at work too. Great show last night. Thank you. Yeah, that was fun. I like this Terry Joyce. She's a funny girl. And I figured if I had to sit through that, then she was going to do it. She was going to sit through it with me. Absolutely. Oh, so I haven't played that phone bumper in so long. I hope it's still there. Because otherwise, I couldn't tell you what the phone number is to call in live. All right, I got it. I think I got it. So we're gonna play this phone bumper, which means we kind of do this old school, right? You just call on your phone, and if you should happen to call and get a voicemail, it is because someone is on the line. That's how it works. So if you call and you get the voicemail, that means somebody is already on the line. If you're not paying attention to the live show, I don't know. My point is, if you do get a voicemail, just wait and call back. You know, we don't get a huge flood of calls here. Sometimes we get no calls, which is why I've been sometimes hesitant to do this. Right? We're like, okay, open phone lines. Nobody calls. Right? Well, actually, I think every time we've done this, we've got at least one call. I don't, but it's still like, So I've got the phone ready, and we're going to play the bumper. We're going to play the call-in bumper. You too can call us here on the mystery phone. Just please wait until the bumper is done before you start dialing. So welcome back, friends. Phone line is open, but I'm going to dedicate my total attention now to the live chat. F. Graf says, I would call in, but my MS causes my brain to drop off into tangent mode, and with it goes any kind of articulation I might have had. Oh, you're still most welcome here, regardless. Yeah. And Steve Ronan was asking if Terry is a comic. Yes, and you may remember her from, I think it's the first season of Last Comic Standing. She was on there with Ralphie May. Incredible comic, one of my favorites. I don't have the ringer turned off. Not that I'm aware of. Okay, 1 second, friends.
To accept, press 1.
I have to accept it. Hello, this is Stephen at Truthseekers. Who are you and where are you calling from?
Happy Friday, Stephen. This is Holly from Long Valley, New Jersey. How are you?
Hey, good. Good to hear from you.
Well, thank you for actually answering my call.
Did you know that somebody emailed me and told me that I should look into you?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
Yeah, I am calling in. What do you want to know?
No, listen, I don't, I get emails from people all the time, and it's usually somebody that doesn't like a certain person will send me like, hey, why don't you do a story on this person? Oh, yeah, here. you should cover this lunatic. Check out her claims. She even has a book. All her claims are stolen from others too. And then they give me a whole bunch of links to some of your material. Her claims are just as wild as Corey Good, David Wilcock, and Sarah R. Adams.
Well, yes, I would agree, but in my defense, I am still deprogramming and coming to terms and realizing truth of things that did happen and obviously did not happen. So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know that much about you, Holly. I haven't looked into you. I don't really know about your background or what kind of, stuff that these people are talking about. So you have some kind of strange, experiences, right?
Yeah, well, I believe I was trafficked with Max Beard, James Castle, and a few others.
Trafficked? What do you mean? Human trafficked?
I'm sorry?
You said trafficked? You believe you were trafficked?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't exactly know how else to explain what happened to us other than to say that we were trafficked and used in mind control projects, that all stemming from Operation Paperclip. So that kind of makes sense.
So Nazi scientists were somehow involved in this thing?
Yes.
So I haven't heard your story. So what happened? So Nazi scientists?
Well, when I was a young child, I remember Joseph Mengele. He was one of our programmers, and
Joseph Mengele, the famous Nazi butcher.
Yes, the angel of death from World War II.
And how old were you when you met Joseph Mengele?
I was a young child, so...
Yeah, because historically, wasn't he in Argentina?
Well, I don't know about all of that. I was about 4 years old up in Milton, Canada. So, and also, before that, I believe I was about 3 years old in deep underground military bases out in the area of San Antonio, Texas. So I was a really young child. And he was the first programmer I remember having as a young child. Forgive me, ask me any question you want. I just don't know where to go with it, and I'm definitely nervous. But that's all because, I want to tell you, Stephen, thank you so much for standing up to these people that bully me. You definitely inspired me and encouraged me, so I just want to first say thank you so much for that.
Okay, well, thanks for calling. Yeah, and someday I will look into your story. Sounds,
You don't have to do it right now.
No, I'm not going to do it right now, but yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, maybe you could be a guest and tell the whole story here.
Sure, I would ever be so honored, but also one last thing. I love your videos where you expose Sarah Rachel Adams. And when you do your shit and you dress in those costumes, you crack me up. And thank
you, I appreciate it.
So much. You get me out of that dark place in my mind, and you unlock me from that prison I get stuck inside of my mind. And I just want to say thank you so much. And also thank you to Terry Joyce. So thanks for picking up my cross, Stephen. This is a huge honor and pleasure, and I'm humbled, and blessings to you and your family.
You're going to give me a big ego, but thank you. I appreciate it.
No, man, you have no idea, Stephen. When I saw you stand up to her, it turned a new leaf in my life, so to speak. And after 4 years, I thought, see you do that I could take a shot at it. And just thank you so much. And then the other night when Terry Joyce was reading her hate emails.
Yeah. Yeah, Terry's cool. I like her.
Yeah. But it was just so nice to laugh at it, but also stand up to it, because it's just been so much time that I've absorbed these punches and kicks. I can't do it anymore. But Stephen, thank you so much. anything I can ever do for you and your family, please let me know.
Sure, I appreciate it. Thank you.
For everything, and have a great night. Happy Friday again.
Yeah, you too. Happy Friday. All right, friends.
Yes.
Oh, good night.
No, I'm going back in your chat room.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll see you there. We're going to go to the live chat next. Thank you. How do I work this thing? There you go. Yeah, I can't work a phone. So back to the live chat. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her, this girl Holly, and her story, because I haven't really looked into her story, but it seems like there is this drama-rama amongst some of the females in the conspiracy land world. And one doesn't like the other, you know. I don't really know, but there's lots of drama-rama behind the scenes, and I get like emails for people that don't like a certain person and say, why don't you do a story on them? I'm thinking I'll beat them up, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Holly Baglio is out since 2012. Holly Baglio. I smoke a lot of weed, I confess. UFO Nod is here. Yeah, let's give some shout outs. I forgot to do the shout outs, so we'll try to do this shout outs here. I'm going to go shout out to Steve Ronan, shout out to Bee Gees, shout out to Holly Baglio, shout out to All Around Arbiter, Blue Shift Radio, Bee Gees is here, shout out to UFO Naut, Jonaside, Charles Unleashed, Spooky, F Graph 72, Paranormal Hood, Jiggy is here in the house, Jonaside and Miss Jonaside are here, Bailey Stoner is here, Out of Mind is here, Gadgy 3 is here. This is where it gets hard. Who did I miss? I think I said Charles Unleashed. Shout out to Charles Unleashed. Victor Caliero is here. Victor Caliero. Shout out to Victor Caliero. Steve Ronan. I said Spooky. Yeah, I think we might have got UFO Gandalf was here earlier. Mario Heat. Shout out to Mario Heat. Islander is here. Shout out to Islander and Brad Gray. Effluent for You. Yeah, I think we got everybody. Oh, no. Ragnar the Destroyer. Shout out to Ragnar the Destroyer. Okay, Holly says, I was looking through the comments early. I got nervous to speak. Thank you so much. I did not mean to bring any drama to your door. Honestly, thank you so much. Yeah, it's fine. Like, you know, I get those kind of emails all the time, and I kind of always know it's just somebody that doesn't like that person, so I don't really follow up on most of those kind of emails that I get, because I get them a lot. It's like, if you have some competition in your grift and you don't like that other competition, see if Steve Cambion will do some research and beat them up, right? Spooky's Corey stealing SCP content. You know, I don't know. I didn't really look at all that stuff, Spooky, but I think that would be a really hard thing to prove, considering that these stories that these guys talk about really are in many different places. So it could be, yeah, sure, it could be that they mine that whole site for, you know, bullshit stories to tell. Or it could just mean that there's some similar stories on that website to the stories they told, because there's other sources out there as well. Like, what is that book called? The Mars Chronicles, I think it's called. That's most of Corey Good's story, at least for the first couple of seasons of Cosmic Disclosure. His entire story came out of the book The Martian Chronicles, or The Mars Chronicles. I always get the name of that book wrong. I really always get it wrong. I never can figure out the name of that book. But everybody knows the book that I'm talking about. It was a free ebook, and it was out years before Corey Goode, several years before Corey Goode, and then Corey Goode comes out using the same kind of terminology. You know, it's pretty clear that he lifted a lot of his story from that book. And then David Wilcock even used that book as proof that Corey was telling the truth. Well, this one guy that has no proof and wrote this book said a lot of the same stuff that Corey Goode said, who has no proof. So it must be true. It's really bad logic to use one unproven source as a source to prove your current unproven source is telling you the truth. I think that really says a lot. You know, Shift Radio, have a good show. I guess you're bouncing out. Yeah. And if anybody else wants to call in, feel free. But, you know, I feel good. At least we got one phone call. We opened the phone line. Everybody get, you know, it's so funny. Like, people say, oh, when are you going to open the phone lines? And then we do, and it doesn't really work. No, I am uninformed. Somebody's talking about prank calls in the live chat. Yeah. You do it so well, Stephen. We just want to see you lose your shit. Yeah, a lot of people are, yeah, and then they get disappointed if I don't yell and scream about something. Like, sorry, I wasn't really angry that night. That's pretty much where we're at. Like, sorry, I wasn't really angry. Oh, here we go. Hello? Oh, wait a second. Hold on. How do I get it on speaker? Jonaside.
What's up?
Hey, Jonaside is here.
Yep.
This is going to be awkward because Jonaside never talks. But he called in, so I'm assuming he had something to talk about. Right, Jonaside?
I got nothing to talk about.
You're just as useless as a live caller as you are as a panel guest, Jonaside. Congratulations.
I have to be consistent.
Yeah, congratulations. You're just as useless at both tasks. You bring nothing to the table here. No, you gotta have something to talk about. You got like 18 dogs, right?
I got a bunch of dogs. One's crying to get into a bedroom. One other dog ate.
Nice. Yeah, I think I've seen you on Jiggy's show not saying anything.
Actually, I talk with Jiggy.
Oh, so wait, you'll talk to Jiggy but not me? What's that about?
Usually, when the time you go on, I'm really high.
Well, there you go. That's what I'm here for.
And then I get quiet.
I'm here to entertain high people. Bee Gees
You didn't know that?
Bee Gees wants us to talk about ghosts.
Okay, let's talk about ghosts.
And Charles Unleashed says, Jonaside stares at things. It's very compelling. Yeah, I don't know very much about ghosts. Bee Gees says talk about ghosts. I've never seen a ghost. Not sure I believe in ghosts.
I've seen ghosts.
Really?
Plural.
Where? And tell us.
Okay, when I first started dating my wife, she told me we were living in a back house in a trailer that was like a mobile home that they added on to. And we went out on a date somewhere, and we come back, and she had mentioned in passing that sometimes she thinks she sees this little girl ghost. So we're in the house, and I'm looking at this table, and standing in the table, not on the table, but in the table, was a little girl. And I was just like, wait, this is late, her daughter's sleeping. What's going on? And I said, that little girl ghost, pink dress, piglets. And she goes, yeah. I go, and they go, yeah, she's right there. And then she was gone.
And what do you mean it was in the table? Like she was standing in the middle?
It was in the middle of the table. Like she was like going through the table. She wasn't on the table. She wasn't under the table. She was in the table. The table's 3 feet high, and like then her shoulders and head are sticking out.
Well, that's strange.
Yeah, that's why.
And you only saw? Did you see it multiple times or just that time?
Just that time.
That
And
is
then when I lived in a house by a cemetery, and we always saw shadow people.
Yeah, I was talking. Your wife wants me to do a show on that, and
Yeah.
I have some material on shadow people. I lived across the street from a graveyard too, and we had all this weird noises in the house, like knocking and stuff. I don't know if it was ghosts, animals, whatever, but we had like exterminator come and check. Nobody could ever find out what it was, and sort of freaked me out a little bit because the house made weird noises.
It was a 3-bedroom or 3-floor house, and the 2 bedrooms on top, and then a kitchen, bathroom, living area, and then 2 bedrooms on the bottom. And we used to watch TV in the middle one, which is right by the front door. And you had stairs on the right side going up. And me and 2 of my roommates are watching TV. We all 3 look because we saw a shadow person go up the stairs. And I'm like, y'all saw that? And they're like, yeah, we saw it. We went up. No one was up there. There was no one in the house. But that happened all the time in that house.
Wow. I don't know why you were just like okay with that. You just stayed living there. Like, yeah, there's like there may be demons. There may be demons in the house, but it's moving is really a hassle. Well, how do you know? You just know there was some kind of shadow entity. That could be demons.
Nothing bad happened.
I grew up Catholic. That was
No
demons,
bad luck.
genocide. That was demons.
And I didn't get a feeling of evil off of it or whatever, or I just, we just played in the cemetery. We're close to the cemetery. It's just cemetery people.
That's creepy, man. And you didn't think about moving or anything?
No, I didn't move I lived in that house for almost 2 years, I think. I think just over 2 years.
All around Arbiter says he's seen ghosts too and orbs.
I moved down the street. Actually, it was funny. I could walk from my one house to my new house.
Wow! And so you did the new owners of the old house still see ghosts?
Actually, when I moved out, one of the people moved their fiance in, and he flipped out because he kept seeing shadow people going up the stairs and in the kitchen. And he saw them like way more than we did, I think. But yeah, he was a Navy guy. He was all straight lace and clean cut. And he was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "It's just shadow people, man. It's not a big deal, But yeah, after that.
So you're saying though that the shadow people are what? Human spirits?
I have no idea what they are. My best guess is interdimensional something. I got no idea.
Interdimensional something. That's not very specific, genocide.
Trying to keep it vague.
I don't know. I would think because of shadows and darkness, there were demons, genocide. How do you know they weren't demons?
Well, I'm a pagan, so I kind of believe in demons and the jinn and stuff, but I'm not all about everything has to be evil.
No.
They might have been good. They might have been angels, just misinterpreted.
Or aliens.
Could have been aliens. I don't know.
Interdimensional aliens. Yeah, so your wife wants me to do a story on shadow people, but like the story that you just told is basically what you hear, that people see these shadow forms moving across a room, a lot of times it comes with temperature inversion. I found a few cases where people felt extremely cold, and it was like,
I've had cold spots in houses that I've lived in.
Yeah, but it was like extremely cold, and then they saw this thing, and then the temperature went back to normal after whatever they were seeing was gone, which is odd.
Well, in that house, I never felt anything really cold. You would see shadows in the corner, and you'd look, and something would just move across the wall, the doorway, and you'd go and look, and there would be nothing there. And it got to where we just ignored it because it wasn't doing anything. That's all it did. So, and I would think, one of the people was very skeptical, and they're like, "It's cars going by," and I'm like, the blinds are drawn. There's no cars outside. But yeah, the one thing we all saw it that one time, and it was just like, that was where, let's go upstairs, let's go look. And there was nobody there, nothing up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw a ghost, but when my father died, I had to move into my parents' old house. And, like right after he died. Like, right after he died. And I swore that he was there. Like I could feel him in there. But then I thought that it may be just nostalgia or something, you know, because I hadn't even been in my family's home for like 10 years. You know, I was like on the outs with my father and family, really. And then people told me that he was dying, so then we tried to make amends, and and then he told me to go, take care of your mother, and it was just,
my dad told me.
yeah, it was just weird in that house. I could feel him in that. I swore he was there for a while, and then the feeling lifted. Like 3-4 days after he was buried, I felt like I could feel that he was gone. You know, it was almost like he just stuck around for a little bit to make sure that I would keep my promise to take care of my mother or something, you know. I got that feeling. Like he's sticking around for a couple days to make sure I do what I promised him or whatever. But I felt this strong presence of him all over that house for a few days. And then it lifted and went away. And it felt like...
When my dad passed, it was like, my dad told me the same thing, though. He just kept saying, take care of your mom. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'll take care of mom. No, take care of your mom. Dad,
no, but that's a heavy burden, especially, I don't know how old you were, but I was in my early 20s, so, you know,
this was...
mid-20s, I guess. So it was still like, Jesus. Because my mom was like a career housewife. She never really had a job, and he knew that she wasn't going to be able to, like, get a job and pay bills or take care of things around the house, so... Yeah.
My mom was retired. My dad was 71 when he died. My mom passed away at 83, but she passed away 2 years later. My mom died, and I was just heartbroken. But after her funeral, any presence of her was gone. So, like, she was like, you guys are okay, I'm out of here. I still every now and then feel my dad. A couple years ago, I was driving somewhere, and I was listening to country music, and all of a sudden, I just felt my dad come, just like, oh, I like country music, and I just started crying while I was driving. My wife's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I just feel my dad.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
You know?
Maybe something can trigger that feeling. Yeah. Yeah, maybe something can trigger that feeling, like, and bring them back. You know, or their aura or something.
Country. My dad was a huge outlaw country fan. You know, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson.
Oh man, my dad used to drive. Me and my brother hated driving in the car with my dad and I never understood it because he like grew up in Philadelphia, and was in the he was like grew up in this like 60s Summer of Love. You'd think he'd be a rock dude. Nope, he liked garbage country music, man. Well, no, it's not garbage, but it's just, I hated country music. Could you imagine, like, going on, I guess you could, your dad liked country music. It's a 2-hour ride somewhere, and my dad's blasting, like, the Oak Ridge Boys, and he always had, like, a kick-ass stereo system in his van, you know? And he's just, like, blasting the Oak Ridge Boys or Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers. Oh, I hated that stuff. But to this day, when I hear one of those songs, I think about my dad and driving in the van with him, you know?
My dad turned me on to Johnny Horton, who I still love to this day, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson. I mean, all the outlaw country. But he listened to bad country radio, and in the 80s when we'd go hunting, that was all you would hear was the Judds, the Oak Ridge Boys.
Yeah, same shit with my dad.
Travis,
yeah. But I do have to say, like, Genocide, I was happy for one thing of all that country music. The Oak Ridge Boys, because I had to learn, I basically learned how to sing harmonies by listening to that stuff. You know, if you ever listen to the Oak Ridge Boys, there's like 4 octaves in there. So, they have the low voice, the super high voice, the mid voice. Yeah, and I learned how to do that from the Oak Ridge Boys. And later, when I was in rock bands, I was dangerous in a recording studio because I could overdub, the lower parts, and it really does help.
Yeah, I can't sing. I can barely play guitar.
Yeah, me too. I had half a career, so.
I had like a quarter of what I played bass in a punk band for a while.
No, I didn't have a career. I had a sometimes self-sustaining hobby that took me to amazing stages, and I did amazing things, but it just never, the money part never happened.
I'm talking about, we got paid in beer, and we thought that was a good night.
Oh, I did those shows coming up. I did shows coming up where it was like we paid for a place that we could just do a show, you know.
And we did that.
But then we sold
we
tickets,
put
so
on
we
a
got
show
the money back, and it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we split everything with the bands, 4 ways. There's 4 bands. We rented out a Grange, and I think it was $5 a head, and you know, we made the money.
Yeah,
back.
I remember. I once did a
Everyone
show.
always played with them for their bills.
I once did a show where it was 15 bands, right? It was 15. It was like all day, you know, like some of the night, and it was in a church hall, and it was $3 to get in.
We did one at a friend's house, and it was an all-day thing, but it was free to get in. And I ate a marijuana cookie really early in the day, and we had a switch from like a 2 p.m., which was prime when you wanted to play, or no one was drunk yet, and there was just getting there to 6 because I was too high to play bass. And halfway through a song, I stopped and watched a plane fly overhead. What are you doing? Oh,
I didn't know you
sorry,
played
I'm so
bass.
high.
Are you good?
No.
Damn, I could use a good bass player. Actually, I could use a bad bass player. Right now, a bad bass player is better than no bass player. So.
You know, I've heard that. Yeah, I just do. I try. I just get paramount. I wanted to be.
Yo, you know, I gotta say, I have had.
And I couldn't pull any of them off.
Yeah, that happens. I have had a bunch of different bass players, and it's so funny to me, like the range of their abilities. Because I've had guys that could barely play; they were fucking terrible. I had one guy, but it was like a computer band, and like most of the music was coming from the computer, so it didn't really matter. He just wanted some bodies on stage, but he couldn't even play in time, right? So we just we just turned his amp way down and just played the computer tracks, and nobody knew.
I used to play a distorted bass just because I had a guitar amp. I just put the distortion up and play that way, and didn't think anything, didn't care. And then that amp blew, and I bought a bass amp, and I'm like, oh wow, it sounds so much better like this.
Yeah. Oh, that's the way it's supposed to sound. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you guys know what you're talking about.
Yeah, for years I had a guitar amp and a mic. That's what I sang through. So like if you went to somebody else's band, you know, like I didn't carry a whole PA. I just had a guitar amp and a microphone.
I remember those days.
Yeah, remember that?
You
You were in some fucking garage sweating your balls off, right? But like you loved it. I loved it. I wouldn't take the only thing I would change is that I would probably I don't know. I think I would probably have spent more time in a group and less time trying to do solo records, because that sucks. It's like all the stress is on you, right? But I called it a band, and I tried to get band members. It just never worked out. So it basically turned into I did everything, and then I got guys to play the shows live, and that sucks. I think I should have spent more time in a group where everybody's responsible and has to do something. But in my experience, bands sucked, and nobody did anything that they were supposed to do. So I got a bad taste in my mouth about bands and said, fuck this, I'll do it all myself. At least I know it'll get done, you know?
Only thing I really miss about bands is when you're jamming with people, you're writing songs, and all of a sudden, a half hour goes by, you're just playing that one riff over and over, like...
Probably because you were high.
Because
you got high.
Yeah, well, sometimes we were high, sometimes we were sober. We just got that natural high from playing.
I don't miss some of the stuff, though. Like, I always had these guitar players that were annoying, and they would spend, like, an inordinate amount of time noodling and fucking tuning their guitars. And really loud, you know? So, I would scream at them, like, fucking tune the guitar with a tuner, and let's fucking rehearse. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you fucking noodle for a half hour.
My guitar player, we played in D, and we do some songs in drop C. And I just walk up to my bass man. I don't know what you're doing. I like playing in E. And he'd be like, dude, and he tuned my bass better than I could by ear. I hated this guy. He's a fabulous musician, though.
Yeah, I've had some guys that, like, there's no way on God's green earth they should have been playing with me. You know, I was just like a rock screamer guy, wrote good hooks. But a couple of guys that I had, I was like, I cannot believe it. I had one guy, this just amazing bass player, and then I thought I'll never have a bass player as good as him. And then I got a bass player later that was probably way better than him, you know? And the guitar players, I had a few that were like ridiculous good, but they were too good for the kind of music I was doing, which is just very simple, you know, riffs, you know?
I always thought it was funny because I'm a metal guy. I mean, I play punk rock, metal, industrial, and stuff like that. But in the metal community, you'd have guys that just power chords and no solos, and then you'd have the guy that was wanted to play Warren and was doing arpeggios. And I'd be like, come on, can we just get along? Can we just, you know, arpeggios and everything? You know, I don't even know how to play that stuff.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me too is that's another part about being in a band is like you got to deal with these 3 or 4 other guys, and all their shit becomes your shit, and all their problems sort of become your problems. You know,
Yeah.
like I had some losers, man. Sometimes they're like, Steve, I'm going to need some money to buy some guitar strings, and I'm like, motherfucker, really? I got to buy you guitar strings? You know, like drumsticks.
Like, no, we gotta get a new guitar player.
Yeah, it's time to get a new guitar player with their own, you know, guitar strings. Imagine that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess
I played in a band. One band I was in, I didn't have any equipment. But I mean, I had a guitar and an amp, and they wanted me to play bass. And so I got a guitar amp, and they're like, "No, we got a bass amp for you. We got a bass for you to play." And it was this death metal band. And I went, "Okay." And if you ever heard Bolt Thrower, they never repeated anything in their songs, and that's how this band was. Every song was 20 riffs. And nothing repeated. There was no choruses, and I'm just like,
oh, I hate that.
I don't know if I could do this. So I learned 3 of the songs, and the lead singer, I didn't know this, but he had a best friend that he wanted in the band, so he taught him to play all the bass. Because the lead singer was the bass player, but he could do the Cookie Monster vocals. So he became the singer. He didn't want to play bass and sing. So he taught his best friend all the bass lines. So then they come back and they kick me out for this guy, and I'm like, all right. And then they got mad because that guy couldn't double pick for some reason. And they were like, well, maybe we'll have you back. At least you can double pick. And I'm like, nah, dude, you guys lost me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I never went back. Yeah, I never, like, you know, and that's another thing, too, with bands, is that there's a lot of, like, weird backstabby shit that goes on, and I can't stand that stuff. Like, you know, I had, like, one of my best friends lie to my face about, like, a set order. In other words, like, I said, we'll do the show, but we're not going first, because we got fucked into going first, and there was nobody in the club there yet.
Yeah.
You know, it was like busy club, great venue, but you got to go on at 9 or 10. If you're going on at 8, 7 or 8, it's not worth dragging all your shit down there and doing the show for an audience of 20 or something. So they wanted us to do it again, and we did. I said, sure, but we can't be the first, you know, the opening act. And then he basically lied straight to my face and said that the band that was supposed to be the opening band couldn't make it for some reason, and you have to be the opening band now. And that was total bullshit. Like, we found out that never happened. And just all that stuff. Or like, I can't tell you how many bands I auditioned for as a singer whose current singer did not know that the band was behind their back holding auditions for a new singer. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's backstabby shit.
I had a band, one of the bands that I was in, they were already talking about replacing me before I quit, got fired.
Yeah, I always love that too.
That's when my meth problem was getting really bad.
Bands.
So I don't blame him for that. But
to this
day, he goes, well, you quit. Well, I quit because you got this other guy to play bass. You got to practice with them. Well, it's because we didn't know if you would show up. Well, I did show up, so I can't blame you for that, but...
Yeah, that's awkward. You show up to band practice and there's another bass player there, you're like, I always like that term, too, Jonas. I love that term. Like, we fired him. We fired who? We fired whoever. But it's like, you get fired in a rock band, and it's like, wait, I got fired from this band that barely ever paid me, that I had to work for nothing for, like, a year for? But yeah, I got fired. Or if you're in the band, you say, yeah, we fired that guitar player. He was a fucking mess. Or, you know, we fired him. Okay.
Well, he was a heroin addict, so I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I dealt with a lot of guys like I
show up for a gig, and I was at the show, and I'm like, hey, you don't want... Nope. All right. And then he shows up and he's high as hell. I'm like, have fun, guys. I said I was actually a really good show because I had a blast.
No, I don't know. I once I kind of was like really, really intensely focused on doing a good show, so I would never do anything before the show. I was an after show guy. Like after the show, especially if the show goes good, let's let it rip and celebrate a good performance, but not. But then I did have my times where I did, and I fucked up. One time I got so drunk that I fell off a stage.
Yeah, we used to have some beers before the show, and I learned my lesson. I mean, edibles before a show. But yeah, after the show is when the fun had. Our lead singer would get so nervous playing that he would actually, he was underage too, which was funny. He would jump off the stage, run to the bathroom between songs, throw up, and come back on the stage and be like,
"Oh, I did that. I did that. Like, I think it was like a first. It wasn't my first show. The first show that I ever did, I don't know why, but I felt a supreme confidence. Like I rehearsed really well, and it was just me and a computer and a guitar player, and I was totally confident, and I was fine, and I wasn't scared or anything. And then I think I fucked up. Like that show went good, and then I got this ego right away. And somebody offered me a pretty big show, and there was shit tons of people there. And I show up to the show, and I'm looking around at this huge crowd of kids, And I got so nervous, I went in the bathroom and first I shit like I shit like a polar bear, and then I started puking, and I couldn't stop puking. For like 25 minutes, I puked almost right up to the time where I had to go into the stage, right? So I get done puking, and I was just like, all right, I got it out. I got a show to do, and I did great. But, yeah.
I just remember one band I was in, Misery Seed. We were supposed to play with this California band. It was supposed to be like, they're coming up to Washington. They're going to be playing Bremerton. It's just going to be this great show. And they break down in Oregon. They had another band was with them, and I don't remember either band's names. And then the other band that was from local was going to open up, heard that they broke down, which they canceled, and we showed up. We have 45 minutes worth of material, and they go, "Hey, can you guys play 2 hours?" And we're like, "Yeah, we play every song twice," and we did. But the place packed out, and it was just like it was the Eastside Tavern in Bremerton. Which
those kind of things are great, though. And I did a show like that once where we showed up and we only had a half hour, and somebody didn't show, and the guy who was running the show said, "Can you guys play for like an hour because so and so didn't show up?" And I go, "Sure." And the guitar player's looking at me like, "What the fuck?" Like how the fuck are we gonna play for an hour? And I'm like, all those new songs that we never finished? We're going to rehearse them live, and I'm going to improv lyrics and vocals because we don't really have them yet. Just improv. And actually, it went great, because they had the basic riffs, and then everybody just did a little bit of improv. So we stretched the hour, and then the band sort of trusted me after that. But they were like pissed. Like, what the fuck did you tell him we have an hour for? It's great.
Well, I watched a band with four guys that I know, and it was just all right. They never practiced, never played together, and they'd be like, "All right, we need some ideas." And I'm gonna play the death metal song, and then the guitar player starts playing a riff, and and then they wrote songs, and it was just verse, chorus, verse, very Ramonesy, but it was just a blast because they never played. They were just writing songs on stage and playing them. And they were good enough musicians and drunk enough that they pulled it off.
Yeah, boy, I had some crazy nights doing that stuff. And it's a wonder I didn't ever die from some of the stupid shit that we did. There was a time where, like, when we were doing, I was doing lots of shows in Philly, and everybody was always handing me party favors. And I kind of felt like I'm the singer. I gotta do it. Like, what is this? Oh, okay. I'll take this. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Couple of years.
The bartender.
Yeah.
The bartender. I kept getting handed drugs. And hence I developed a meth problem. I wonder how that worked.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Because I had a friend that did that, and he was really hooked for a long time. I think he was smoking it and snorting it.
Yeah, I was smoking it. That's what I was doing. Smoking it, snorting it, eating it, but never shot it up. No needles. And this June will be 19 years off of it, so
Good for you. How long were you using?
about 6-7 years.
Wow.
I mean, maybe 10 years actually, but 6-7 years that it was like I had a problem.
Wow. Yeah, I'm
But
glad that you made it through that, brother.
I always paid my rent, so I mean it was.
Well, yeah, you're doing meth. You can go to work on meth. You probably perform better on meth. I mean, it's a shame to say it, but yeah, I used to have a friend that would smoke that shit, and he would be awake for like 3 days. He would smoke it and just be awake for like 3 days.
When I first the first real long binge I went on was about 2 weeks. I might have gotten maybe 24 hours of sleep. It's 2 weeks because I thought you could smoke it like weed.
Yeah, apparently not.
Like weed. No, you can't.
Listen, Jonas Hyde, Bailey Stoner is laughing at me for saying you can go to work on meth. Have you ever worked in the trades? Because there's a lot of dudes, especially like the lower rung, that are in construction and they're doing meth.
I worked as I was a bartender, as a cook, and a doorman on meth. Unfortunately, I have to say, it's my first year driving taxi. I was on meth.
Holy shit!
But that was pretty much like they all knew. You'd wake up, you'd do some meth, and you'd drive for 12 hours. 14 hours, and you were fine doing it. It just got to a point where I didn't want to be on it, and so I quit. And I just never looked back, and thankfully I've lost a couple of friends from it, but most everyone that I hung out with got clean. One became a drug counselor, but I still see a couple of my, I see my old dealer who's homeless downtown, still doing what he does.
Some people.
Now he's like 55, just like it still has his teeth too, which I can't believe.
Some people get lucky with it, and they just keep surfing on. I mean, I didn't know many people on meth, but I knew a lot of people on heroin in Philadelphia, and even people you would never suspect that were secretly, like they'd go to work, they'd maintain a normal life, and then all weekend they'd be shooting up and nodding off and shit.
They were a functioning junkie. They for 20 years just did enough to maintain, and got divorced, and then got depressed and went right back into it, and ended up losing everything, and then recovered, and he's been clean 27 years now, I think.
Yeah.
20.
Well, good for him, and good for you for you beat the demon, because that's not. Yeah, I was going to say good for you for beating it, because that's not an easy demon to beat. I know.
No, it sucked. I tell everyone, I'm like, how'd you do it? One day at a time. The first year sucked. It did. It was just, wow, this sucked. And then I got fat, which I was just like, well, wait, how'd I get fat?
Yeah, meth will keep you thin, right?
Yeah, I did. I'm happy, But... And I still see it's still in our community around here. I still have family members and people that I know that are on.
Sure, it's in every it's all over the place.
But I've also known people that are on the pills that went to heroin.
Yeah.
And alcohol too. I've seen there's people.
Yeah, and there's
can't handle their.
It's just easy to make that. Well, not easy, but there's meth labs and stuff. I remember there was state troopers. There were state troopers on the dirt roads near my cabin. And I kept seeing them, and I'm like, and they were just kind of rolling around slow, But I would see them every once in a while, and if I was talking to one of my neighbors, I'm like, what's up with the state troopers? And he's like, they're just like looking for meth labs back in the woods here. They do that every once in a while. I'm like, oh great, there may be a meth lab around my cabin, but yeah, back in the woods, you just need a trailer, some chemicals, and glassware,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I always thought was funny was when I was in it, I always met up with the dealers. I always became friends with the dealers, and I never wanted to deal myself, but I always ended up helping, not dealing, but I know where to get some, But whenever I met a cook is when I'm like, okay, I got to back off. I got to get clean for a while, because everybody that I knew that met cooks either got arrested, turned, into an informant, which I just, do your own time, or died. And I'm like, I don't want to be around the cooks, man. Every time I backed off.
Yeah, I told the genocide. I told this story before. It's so funny. My uncles on my mother's side were like bikers and the pagans, you know. And one time, you know, I was like grown. I think I was like 16, maybe. I don't know, almost grown. And, you know, I was really into science. So my uncle comes to me and he's like, hey, you know, we could really use somebody like you, like a science guy, you know, and we're gonna have this whole laboratory in there. I'm like, Uncle Murph, do you want me to become a meth cook? I'm 16 years old, bro. And he's like, yeah, but you know a lot about science, or like a lot, and we think you'd be okay, and we're gonna get you some help. I'm like, what are you gonna get me? He's like, well, I don't know. They got some books. I'm like, great. My Uncle Murph wants me to go cook meth because they found some science books and some lab equipment, right? That's my family, bro.
That's how it starts.
You got a lot of criminals in my family. They were always in and out of jail, my uncles, because they literally robbed boxcars. Like, they would find out somehow which boxcars had cigarettes or liquor, and then they would rob the boxcars somehow. Like, they would cut the fence and, like, get in there and break it open and steal all the shit out of it. And I don't know, they got caught.
Like, the bikers around here were into counterfeiting.
Oh, wow, really? See that?
Yeah, it was just, all of a sudden, like, counterfeit bills started flooding the area, and then all of a sudden, like, all the bikers that I knew from a certain Frito gang club were gone. They all got busted. And I'm like, what happened? They were counterfeiting. I'm like, oh, that was them? Oh, okay. Someone was doing it. I didn't know it was them.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my uncles were keeping liquor in my parents' basement, you know, because it's their sister, and that's how it worked. Like, they every once in a while they would come and take a few boxes and stuff, and then finally one day my dad got pissed off and told him, like, you got to come and take all this shit, and there was literally a truckload of liquor, like boxed, you know, cases of liquor in our basement, and they had to come with like a rental truck van or something to get it all out of there, and all the neighbors were out watching this stuff because it got loaded in slowly, like they, you know, in the middle of the night or something. My mom was like letting them in because my mom's like an alcoholic, so she's like, you want to store liquor here? Absolutely, go ahead. And my dad's sleeping, he doesn't know what's going on, you know. It's crazy.
Well, I remember a friend of mine calls me up out of the blue. I talked to him. I was like, hey, man, I got to do a drug deal. Can I swing by your house? And I'm like, I'm not really sure, man. I mean, it's like, who are you doing it with? He's like, I'm doing it with this one guy. Well, I know him, so, okay, just this one time. And he was a club member, and they come over, and they do the deal. When they were done, the guy goes, well, you know, you're the house owner, and hands me off like half an ounce of meth. And I'm like, really, I really want you guys doing this at my house a lot. If you need a spot, yeah, give me a call.
Yeah, as long as you get hooked up, that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but they never called me back, so it was kind of cool. But yeah, I was just like, I was half asleep, like, you know, what the fuck? Well, this actually worked out in my favor.
Yeah, I miss those. I kind of do miss those Rock Band days sometimes, but it was a lot of work. A lot of work.
But I don't miss the drama.
Yeah, and you know, we're talking about all these drugs. Like, when I was doing that, there was just drugs everywhere, bro. Like, everywhere.
Yeah. Well, there was, like, I remember we did a party one. We played a party, and I remember walking into a room, and that's when I first saw someone. And they were shooting at meth, and I didn't know that at the time. I thought they were shooting heroin. I was just like, oh, that's this kind of party? And I just kind of left. That room, and then it was like, oh, they were just doing meth, man. It wasn't anything bad. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Because I really did. I mean, I didn't really know what meth did at that time. I was like 21 or 22. Like, okay. But that was also my introduction, you know. Like, hey, you want to do a line? Okay, I'll do a line. I'm cool.
Yeah, I went to a party once, and there was like a lot of like real hot chick models and stuff, and then the next thing I know, like, so everybody's taking this little kit out with needles and shit, and I'm like, no, this is not my scene. And like, literally, like, half hour later, like, half the people in there were all fucking nodded off, shot up, and everybody's like, you want some? I'm like, no, not really. I'm good. And I got out of there. Then it was just turned into like zombie.
A couple times, but it wasn't. I was like, I like this. This could be fun, but I watched Train Spotting, and I'm not doing this. You know?
It's terrible. It'll destroy your soul.
But I'm gonna let you go. Someone else call in, so I don't,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you calling in, and you actually spoke, which is, you spoke a lot more than when you were on the panel. So maybe we'll have you call in from now on.
Probably be a good idea.
You'll actually talk. But thank you. Say hello to your beautiful wife for me. I appreciate your call. Thank you.
All right. Later, brother.
All right, let's throw Mr. Genocide out of here. I do know how to work a phone, so the line is open if anybody else wants to call in. Otherwise, I'm devoting my full attention to the live chat. 1 second here, friends. Let's try that again. KB, it is a hard disease to beat. My sister is working on it. My mom has been sober for 23 years. She tried to commit suicide a few times while I was growing up. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Miss Genocide. Yeah, I don't know if I ever mentioned it, and I'm not sure why I should, but my mother was an alcoholic, like my entire life. Especially, she had periods of sobriety. Like, my father basically forced her to quit drinking several different times, but eventually she would always go back, sneaking drinks. There was like gallons of wine hidden in the hallway closet that my father didn't know about. It's tough growing up with that. And then after I think she was doing pretty good, and then after my father died, she just lost it as far as her alcoholism went. She just sort of died of a broken heart without my father around to stop her. And we did what we could, we sent her to rehab and paid for it a couple of different times. But she never cleaned up. And it was actually alcohol that killed her, because she died of basically liver failure. Her liver and all of her organs just started shutting down because of the intake of alcohol. I worry about these things myself, especially post-COVID. I think I would be lying if I didn't say that my drinking probably doubled. My frequency and amount that I would drink in a week probably doubled since the beginning of our current health crisis. And I'm not going to make excuses. I'm just saying that's basically where I'm at. And I know I have to, calm down, right? But I guess I have good weeks and bad weeks. Like last week, I didn't drink at all for, I think, 4 days. And I considered that a win. But then I made up for not drinking for 4 days over the next 3 days, which is never good, right? Yeah, and my wife is very reasonable. And we have this, I'm an asshole, I guess, and selfish when it comes to my bad habits, because she basically just says, just try to keep it to a case of beer a week. That's reasonable, right? And I go, yeah, okay. But then I discovered 30 packs, right? Well, I get an extra, it's still a case. And now I'm up to a, what is it? Miller Lite. They sell it in 36 packs, but it's still a case. It's one case, right? And then, I like IPAs once in a while, so sometimes I would get the Miller and a 12-pack of IPAs, and I could kill that in a week. I could literally just drink all of that over 1 week, and that is way too much. So I'm trying to, just cut down. And, logically, it's stupid for me to drink at all, knowing my family history. I believe that my grandmother died of alcoholism on my mother's side. My grandfather on my mother's side basically died of alcoholism. My uncles on my mother's side, and my mother. And by the way, that's the Irish side of my family. My mother is Irish. So, and I'm not making stereotypes, but that's very common in Irish families, that you have a lot of people in your family that died of the drink. That's what we say. He died of the drink. And it's sad. And, I'd love to be the guy that just drinks a 6-pack on the weekend. I'm just not that guy. I mean, I will drink 10 beers, especially 12-ounce beers, And I've had this argument with my wife, like, why can't you just drink 6 beers? Those are 6 12-ounce beers. And when I go to the bar, it's a 20-ounce beer mug. Or, yeah. And it's just a thing. But I'm trying to work on it. So I think, I have to stay busy. That's one thing I've noticed. I get a lot more done when I'm not drinking. KB says, word, Steven, this is a bad week for me. Well, I'm doing pretty good because I don't know how many beers are left in that case, but there's still beers left in the case. And new case day is Monday, usually. So, trying to moderate, So I'd love to know how people just, like, drink 2 or 3 beers and go to bed. I always feel like that's incomplete. Like the 2 or 3, okay. I'm just gonna drink them until I'm done, and then, But I do worry about my intake, and I think, and also one thing that I did last year is I did this 75 hard, and you can't have any alcohol. And I found that to be beneficial. I only made it 37 days. I didn't make it the full 75 days. But I made it 37 days with no alcohol whatsoever and a good diet and exercise 45 minutes twice a day. One of them being outside. And I felt great after that. So I'd like to do that again, this 75 hard challenge. And it'll force me to stop and also improve my diet. I think I put on I can't tell you how many, probably 20 pounds since this COVID thing started. And it's all in my gut. Like, I'm starting to look pregnant. So it's time to do something, And all the beer is probably, that's what does it. That's a lot of empty carbs. It's better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Then victory is yours. It cannot be taken from you, not by angels or demons, heaven or hell. That is very wise. The contact says, yeah, I have the same Irish dreams. I either drink a lot of beer or nothing, no in between, so better to not buy it any at all. Yeah. And you know what, Daniel? My wife noticed during the snowstorm that if I just went to the bar and bought a 6-pack, I only drank a 6-pack. So she would almost prefer that I just walk to the bar and just buy a 6-pack, because then I'm only going to drink the 6-pack, right? But when I have, I don't know, when I was doing the Miller Lite and the IPA, that would be 48 beers, a 12-pack and a 36-pack. I've got 50 beers. I'm going to drink 50 beers. That's the way it is. You're right. I have no in between. I feel like an incomplete drunk makes me angry too. Like, sometimes you get in that situation where you're like, well, I've got 5 beers in there. I'm not going out to get another case of beer. I'll just drink these 5 beers. And I literally get angry when I'm done the 5 beers that there's not a few more. If only I had a couple of more, right? I could finish this drunk off. Steve Ronan says, exercise, fast walking, and body X and weights 4 times a week for an hour will have you feeling great and looking great. So what? You walk fast with weights? I don't know. That's all the exercise that I do. I have a treadmill, but it's a shitty treadmill that you can only walk on. It doesn't have like a run setting, right? Which I'm kind of thankful for because I can't run. So, but I can walk on it for 45 minutes. So that's my exercise. I walk on the treadmill for 45 minutes. And believe it or not, that for me, that's a workout. I must be getting old or fat as shit. Because walking for 45 minutes, it didn't sound to me like that was going to be hard, but it is. And having the discipline, Steve Ronan, to do it every day. But I like the 75 hard, twice a day for 45 minutes. You have to do 45 minutes outside, doing anything you want outside for 45 minutes, but exercise, and then 45 minutes you could do inside. So I walked on the treadmill, and then I would walk outside for 45 minutes. And yeah, doing that every day and a sensible diet, and you'll drop weight super fast. Yeah, the stereotype is kind of true. People will spend the whole weekend in clubs and think nothing of it, but getting less like that now. Yeah, not since the current health crisis. But yeah, me and my wife used to, before kids, we used to go to the bar 3, 4 nights a week. And later, when we figured out like how much we were spending at the bar every week, we were like, whoa, you know, when I'm sure when we decided to have children, it was like, well, we're going to drink at home now. And we went to the bar like only very, very occasionally. Because yeah, you could drop a couple $100 in a bar if you're going there 3 nights a week and hanging out. You know, it's easy to drop a few $100. Yeah, the context, Daniel says, yeah, if it's in the fridge, I drink it. So basically, every second year or so, I just take a year off drinking to heal the liver. That's good. I hear that's good. That's absolutely good. It'll heal it up. Wow, Melissa. I have friends who spend 20 days without drinking, then they go buy a couple of bottles of whiskey and finish them off in one sitting, then spend the next couple of weeks drinking all day, then another 20 days off. Yeah, it's like trying to manage, you know, I went to AA for a time too, like a while ago, and I didn't drink for about a year, I think. And this was when I was first married. You know, it's just like, I really thought, like, I'm going to be a better husband if I just don't drink at all. And I really tried. I did it for a year. I don't know. AA for me was weird, though, because it was just like, you just go to this place and there's all these people complaining about how much they want to drink, but they can't. And I didn't know that that was helpful for me. But I did I think I did a year. And then I went back, you know. And I guess I do this sort of cycle. Like sometimes I'll take a long time off of drinking. A few months, whatever. That time it was a year. And then I go back slowly. You know, like, well, I'll just have a few drinks tonight. You know, or I'll go out and have a few drinks with friends. And literally a few drinks. But then before I know it, I'm drinking 10 beers before I'm done. Mario Heat says deadlifts, weightlifting, and stair climbing will make you drop weight quick. Okay, if you say so. But I don't see myself weightlifting or stair climbing, right? I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. Chris77 says, getting older has curbed my partying. It's definitely harder to recover. I hear that, and I agree with you 100%. It is hard. I remember I used to literally drink all night on a work night, right? Like I used to go out to the bar or get a bunch of beer after work, you know, and get done work at like 5 or 6 o'clock, and I would just drink until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then wake up at 7 and get to work by 8 a.m., and I'd be fine. No way that I could do that now. Yeah. You know, and then also, I'm not sure it's related, and I'm sure my wife thinks that's an excuse for me, but I have terrible insomnia. I have my entire life. And one of the things that I like about alcohol is like after about 10 beers, that's the off switch, right? But that's not healthful sleep. That's, you know, it was like Rodney Dangerfield, you know, his wife told him, you've got to learn to sleep better in a movie, anyway. And he said, I don't know how to sleep, I know how to pass out. No, Bailey Stoner, you're lucky. She says, I still don't get hangovers. Well, good for you. I rarely do. I mean, I could drink 10 beers and then I'm fine the next day as long as I have enough time to sleep. But I'm probably a little beat up the next day, a little slow, a little beat up. But I don't feel sick or hungover. But if I go beyond the 10 beers, or if I add alcohol, like if I have shots, beers and shots, that's not good. Definitely not good. I used to joke that I was allergic to alcohol, especially vodka, because it made me break out in handcuffs. Every time that I got really drunk on vodka, something bad happened. So I avoid vodka like the plague. And being Polish, that's hard to do. Every Polish, person, it's like just the same with Russians, I guess. Vodka's the drink, and it's always like, have a shot. Genocide said, stop drinking heavily in my 30s. Yeah, I know better, and I should dramatically cut down or quit altogether. I'm just not there yet, right? And, but I know I definitely, listen, when my wife is working from home right now, so she's here and helping with the kids and everything, but as soon as she goes back to her office to work, I'm going to have a lot more stuff that I have to deal with the children, so yeah, I'm going to have to clean my act up to be, and you know what's funny? That's one of the things that will do it. Like the fact that you reach some realization, maybe like I have to be a better father here, and I can't do it without severely cutting down on this bad habit, right? Philip Pratt says coffee plus weed is far better than booze. Much easier to keep fit. Yeah, when I quit drinking, I smoked a lot. I smoked a lot more pot. You know? I don't know. I used to. I mentioned I have terrible insomnia, and I don't know, for a time I was getting really good indica bud, and that would help me sleep. But not lately. Or it's just not working like it used to. So, yeah, PBR Street Gang says beer is liquid bread. Yeah, it's a lot of empty calories, so, yeah, a lot of empty calories pop up. That was tequila. Got so drunk and sick at 16, never drank it again. Mine was brandy, Miss Genocide. I once, as like 10 years old, got into my parents' liquor cabinet, and they had, still remember it, apricot brandy. And to this day, the smell of brandy will make me almost vomit. Any brandy. The background music is distracting. Here, I'll turn it down for you then. See that? There you go. Yeah, so I'm proud of myself for one thing, and that is I stuck to a schedule this week. There is hope for us all. I said Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 p.m. We would be here. I would do a show each night, and we even managed to do a few bonus shows. So this week's show total is now at 5. Which this is so funny. I'm going like, I can't do 5 a day. So I'm going to commit to 3 or 5. I can't do 5 a week. It's too much. So I'm going to commit to 3. And then if I have extra, I'll do an extra show. And then I do the 5. It makes no sense to me. You know, but I didn't want to commit to 5 nights a week at 10 p.m. It's difficult to beat. It's like, I don't know what it is, but having to do something at a certain time every day, it just bothers me. And then what if I don't have material? What if or like tonight we have a canceled last minute surprise guest, right? And we have to fill in. But I'm proud of myself. I said I was going to do a show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We did a show. Not much of a show today, but here it is. Who makes your intro music? A person called Carl Casey, who makes amazing synth music that I wish I had the time to make. Some of the music you hear on the show is from me, and some of it, a lot of it is from this person, Carl Casey. Yeah, Terry was really cool. Yeah, we're going to have her back again. She's fun and, a comedian, so I'm hoping she'll help come and make the show funnier, I think that would really benefit us, right? And I like her, and I've been talking to her because I always wanted to try stand-up my entire life and never did, and I'm going to make her help me. I'm going to write my set, and then I'm going to have her look at it and try to help me improve it before I go embarrass myself in public. But God knows when that's going to be because, of the current health situation. But I'm hopeful by summer, maybe some things will get back to normal, like comedy shows. I think we could all use a good comedy show right now. Spooky ass next Roswell. No idea. Still waiting for 2 guests who said that they would check their schedule and let me know if and when they could do it. And also, Spooky, I think that the whole panel show is booked except for Mr. Kevin Randall, who's still got some issues with CalCorp, so I don't know if he's going to do it, but I'm hopeful that that will work out. Ragnar the Destroyer, who killed JFK, USSR, LBJ, CIA, military-industrial complex, or a combination of the latter three. Yeah, it could be all of the above, right? For all I know. There's so many different conspiracy theories. That is the birth of conspiracy theory land. One of the births of conspiracy theory land, of course, being the assassination of JFK. Me, I have a real problem with this magic bullet theory, and someday we're going to have CalCorp on, because he's written a whole book basically claiming to have solved the mystery of, you know, what happened to JFK, and just never really believed the official narrative. Physics is physics, and it seems to me that the magic bullet theory defies the laws of physics, right? But I don't know. I'm not an expert on that event for sure. Love your sense of humor. I pray for you so much success. I still need to watch Drax, your most latest interview. May I play Casbolt when you interview him? Yeah, sure. You're very welcome. Yeah, and I was going to try to do this David Wilcock mask thing again, but boy, that mask is rough, and I got to work on it. But we're going to be doing a David Wilcock and a Box of Dildos Challenge Part 3 very soon. Got the mask and everything for that, so maybe this weekend if I'm feeling up to it. But I kind of feel like we've already done 5 shows. The world does not need that much of me. So I think I'm taking the weekend off to attend to some other matters that are certainly more important than the show, sadly. You know, like family stuff and some other things that I have to do. So, friends, I think we're going to wrap things up here. I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of the show. Hey, at least we finally got those phone lines back open. I'm glad to see a few people call in, and we'll do a show like this again. Next week we'll have open topics, open lines, and anybody can be a part of that. So until next time, friends, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night, and God bless all of you.
I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, succubus with goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. I don't want to see him kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, in bed with a goblin. Dump it. Charging into a goblin's nest, some goblin vomit and slop and blood on it, especially up to his ankles. Trump charging into a goblin's nest, some goblin vomit and slop. Goblin vomit and slop. I'm not expecting him to not get dirty. Slop, kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins, succubus with goblins, in bed with a goblin. Kissing goblins, ingratiating goblins. I just want to catch him in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin, in bed with a goblin. I just want to catch him in bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin, bed with a goblin.
to find you. was afraid when the heavens opened up and you descended. The raindrops through my fingers slipped away. Now I'm so afraid that you'll fly away, and no cage on earth could ever make you stay. Now I'm so afraid that you'll fly away when the cage is open. Will you fly away? So I tried to be everything that you wanted, but I failed to be anything at all. I knew there'd come a day when you'd discover I'm just an ordinary human after all. And I'm so afraid that you'll fly away, and no cage on earth could ever make you stay. Now I'm so afraid that you'll fly away when the cage is open. Will you fly away? These wings are broken. These wings won't fly. I'm trapped here on the ground while you reach for the sky. But I'm so afraid that you'll fly away, and no cage on earth could ever make you stay. But I'm so afraid to let you fly away. When the cage is open, will you fly away? When the chains are broken and the cage is open, will my heart be broken? Will you fly away?
What if it was possible to learn how to hack or program your own mind? The truth is, your mind has already been programmed and controlled by others for years. But this is how you break free. This is how you learn to program your own mind and finally take control of your destiny. This is how you break that bondage. This is how you learn to hack your own mind and learn to finally be free. Welcome to Mind Hack. The Mind Hack system includes guided meditations, binaural beats for each brain state, motivational speaking, hypnotic inductions, and much, much more. The Mind Hack system puts you back in control. The Mind Hack system helps you reach your goals. The Mind Hack system helps you manifest your dreams into reality. By finally taking control of your own mind, you will learn to focus and take control of your own infinite potential. Welcome to Mind Hack.
stop spinning without you here. The heavens, they're dead in the sky. I cried to the angels to bring you home to me, but that's not meant to be in this life. You make me feel like I'm home. You make me feel like I'm home. But I drive the empty space you always leave behind. It makes me feel like there's a hole in my soul. I remember the last time I saw your face. I still taste your last kiss goodbye. I reached out to touch you through miles and through days, but still this emptiness won't fade. You make me feel like I'm home. You make me feel like I'm home. But I drive the empty space you always leave behind. It made me feel like there's a hole in my soul.